From the dawn of time, humans were fascinated of the idea, there being in force of good and evil fighting each other. Religious writings like the Bible are no exception to that. In this video, we will dive in a specific segment of the Christian belief, which fascinates people, inspires writings, movies, and paintings, and creates one of Christianity's biggest symbols. Today, we will talk about angelology and demonology. Starting off, what is angelology and demonology? Angelology and demonology is science created by Christians in medieval era to understand and create connections between those beings, as well as create a hierarchy in both hell and heaven in hope to convince more people of stories containing those entities by making sense of their interferences. As a disclaimer, I would like to remind you that this is purely educational. My intention is not to convince of a religion, nor to dissuade from believing your religion. Beliefs about angelology and demonology vary from different churches, and the belief in a sort of hierarchy is, under modern Christians, relatively uncommon. You should view this video as a sort of insight into a strongly simplified biblical world by bringing the concept of heaven and hell nearer to somebody completely uninformed about this topic. I, as well, don't want to promote Satanism or mislead somebody into thinking that this is everything Christianism is about. Firstly, I will talk about angelology. Angelology is a very discussed topic between the different churches due to the lack of names, as well as unidentifiable descriptions of certain angels. In the Holy Bible, a numerous amount of moments are mentioned of interferences of angels in certain events. Their description differs from the typical modern picture of a winged human in cloak or medieval clothing, as well as armor, to indescribable entities with more alien or cosmic horror-like look. Because of those problems, a highly influential angelologist, Pseudo-Dionysius the Areopagite, made it his life goal to create an understandable and complete hierarchy of angels. In the 5th or 6th century, in his book De Coelesti Hierarchia, describes Pseudo-Dionysius the heaven as being made of 9 ranks, which he calls the 9 choirs of heaven, which get split up in 3 orders. In the lowest order are the 3 lowest choirs of angels: the guardian angels, archangels, and principalities. Guardian angels are said to be the lowest rank of angels because they are the furthest from God and nearest to human. Some say that for every true Christian is a guardian angel assigned to keep him in contact with God and help him in hardest times against the temptation of the devil. Even though in modern media the guardian should protect the human at all cost, in reality, they will try to convince the human of a greater good and lead the human as close as possible to what God has planned for him. Next up are the archangels, and from all the choirs and orders, they are the most known because they are the few angels that actually have names. Usually, the stories talk of 7 archangels, which isn't that clear due to different interpretations of different churches. The only archangel that is accepted by all Christians is the Archangel Michael, with Gabriel as the second most accepted. But usually the 7 archangels are known as Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Raguel, Phanuel, and Sachiel. Michael is the most popular out of all of them, being depicted in different stories, fighting Satan and being the great defender of Israel. Even though Michael is in the lowest order, he is considered the strongest angel, with only Satan being his counterpart, which he defeats in a prophecy from the book of Revelation. The next choir are the principalities, which are nearest to the actual meaning angel. They are God's messengers. They are meant to visit humans, priests, and kings to inform about the will of God and to bring humanity closer to Him. Moving on, there's the second order, consisting of dominions, virtues, and powers. These angels wield the responsibility for the universe. The dominions inform the rest of this order about the decisions of the order above and the will of God. They are like the principalities, but not between humans and heaven, but between God and the second and third order. The virtues are in control of the nature, the cosmos, and the world itself. They maintain the current universe and ensure that there is no inconsistency or impossibility in the world. And the powers are the soldiers and fighters in heaven, meant to fight against Satan and his demonic armies, as well as protect the heavens. Closest to God is the first order with the seraphim, cherubim, and ophanim. This order is furthest from human and is said to be receiving commands directly from God. It's worth mentioning that while the third order looked like human with wings and the second like celestials with humanly features, the first order is completely distinct from the common picture of an angel. The first order is made of creatures with impossible proportions and characteristics. Their names aren't mentioned in the Bible with single exception of the cherubim Lucifer. Seraphim are angels with 6 wings that are said to hide their faces and limbs, with 4 of them. They are the connection between the second order and God, and it is believed that they praise him all the time. The cherubim and the ophanim are strongly connected together. The cherubim are angels with no visible body and 4 heads. One of a man, a lion, an ox, and an eagle. Sometimes they are represented as 4 angels with 1 conscious mind. The ophanim, on the other hand, are intersected wheels with eyes staring in every possible direction. They don't have many interactions with humans, but appear, for example, in Ezekiel's vision, where he says that cherubim are controlling the ophanim, which have a specific function for God's throne. Moving on to our second focus of the video, demonology. Ironically, while angelology is already widely discussed, demonology seems to be much better described. This is probably due to how much humans resemble demons because of our imperfect nature. While in modern fantasy adaptations, demons are often portrayed as all evil and unforgivable creatures. In reality, they were just angels not following the will of God or sinning. Another kind of demons were the mythological gods like Zeus, Odin, or other gods, not belonging to Christianity, because they were said to try and dissuade people from belief in the one true God. The equivalent to the 9 choirs of heaven are the infamous legions of hell, commanded by the 7 princes of hell. The 7 princes of hell are said to be Lucifer, the sin of pride; Leviathan, the sin of envy; Asmodeus, the sin of lust; Beelzebub, the sin of gluttony; Satan, the sin of wrath; Belphegor, the sin of sloth; and Mammon, the sin of greed. The ones you have probably heard about are Satan and Lucifer, so I will assume that you know what's up. Down the list, we have Leviathan, the sin of envy. I have already given a summary of Leviathan, but I was talking about one of many interpretations, which is mostly known in Judaism. This version, however, is from a more Christian perspective, where Leviathan is a prince of hell with its mouth representing the gates to hell. Next up is Asmodeus, the sin of lust. Asmodeus is a creature with a lot of animalic features, resembling a chimera. He is known as the killer of husbands and stealer of wives. He is known for possessing women and being a coward, hiding behind them. In his whole existence, he has only had 2 important moments in the Bible, one encounter with Archangel Raphael and one with King Solomon. Beelzebub, the sin of gluttony, is known for feasting on living people in hell, in hordes of flies. He tempts people to indulge in gluttony and is said to be the second most powerful prince of hell, next to Satan. He is known for possessing people and making them eat in unhealthy amounts, leading to obesity. Belphegor, the sin of sloth, is a lazy demon who takes the form of other humans, animals, or creatures and convinces them to let themselves go. He is the reason why we procrastinate, seek comfort, and are lazy. He will do anything to make you stop coming closer to God and follow your animalistic desires. Mammon, the sin of greed, can be translated to the word money itself. He is said to be the demon who sparks our wish for having it all and manipulates us into valuing money and goods over people, values, and God. In hell, Mammon will drown you in a river of melting gold if you succumb to greed in your human lifetime. Every prince is ruling over one legion and is seen as their king, but this is only the Binsfeld's classification of demons. Furthermore, there are more different interpretations of demonology. There is the scale of novenary with Beelzebub, Python, Belial, Asmodeus, Satan, Merahem, Abaddon, Astaroth, and Mammon. There is also the scale of ternary with Alecto, Megara, and Ctesiphon, followed by 3 infernal judges, Minos, as Achan Radamanus. But the one I have told you is seen as the most acceptable. As I already mentioned, there's a lot to unpack in other versions, but this should give you the most basic insight into angelology and demonology. It's also important to note that angels and demons are not simply opposites. They have different natures and purposes, and their roles in the spiritual realm are distinct. Understanding the nature of these entities is crucial for those who seek to navigate the spiritual world and follow a path towards enlightenment and salvation. The biggest difference between demons and angels in the Bible is that demons are present at all times when we feel like succumbing to those 7 sins, while being convinced to do the right thing not by an angel, but by God Himself. Angels, on the other hand, are noticeable, visible, and carry out important missions, being passed down through the 9 choirs. The strong presence of demons in our world is explained by Jesus. If this world has a prince, then it's the devil himself.